If you can use the Q&A panel if you are in via Zoom, and if not, we have the panel here. Guillermo Pereira and Elisa Perano will be in charge of analysis of obsolete BGP attributes in the LACNIC region. Good morning. So we are going to present this analysis, the obsolete BGP attributes in the region. The idea of this analysis, we thought of this because an ASN in 2023 used one of their routes using one of these obsolete BGP attributes, and the message went to somewhere where they couldn't manage the problem, and the result was that the session was rebooted constantly, and the connection, of course, was having trouble. So we wanted to see what attributes are being published in our region to measure the potential impact they can have, what may happen because of these attributes. And the idea, too, was to generate a good practice guide. We did that at LACNIC as a best practices article. So this is what the presentation will consist of. A brief introduction first to have an idea of the problem and the outcomes. This is just to remind you there are attributes in these BGP messages. Some of them are mandatory. You have to send them, and they're well known. The routers that publish their routes need to send them, whether you like it or not, such as origin, next hop, AS path. So once these messages reach the peers, of course, they have to be forwarded to the peers, but for this talk, we're going to focus on the transitive and optional messages that can be somehow manipulated, and they are the ones that become obsolete, or they're defined as such by the community. And these transitive ones, once an organization sends a message, the routers have to forward it to their peers because they are transitive. Diana has the table of these attributes, those that become obsolete. They make reference to the RFC, explaining why they are obsolete. And those in yellow are the ones that we highlighted for our analysis. So this is the problem that I told you earlier. An ASN announced one of its routes with this attribute 28 entropy label that had been defined as obsolete previously. This is not so much a problem. The problem is that as it is marked as transitive, and as it travels and goes to one of the routers that was unable to handle the attribute, that session was rebooted and consequently the connection got lost. This leads us to think that this could be a potential weapon as an attack, not only using an obsolete attribute, but making one on purpose. So imagine that you have a router wherever it is, and you create this attribute that was obsolete on purpose, and it goes to somewhere where that it's vulnerable, or they don't know how to manage it. It's going to restart the session permanently. So this struck us, and we thought, what could happen if this were to be used as an attack? And now Elisa will tell you about the measurements. Thank you, Guillermo. Well, so this led us to see what was happening in the LACNIC region. So we looked at RRC24, the collector that collects the message, and we noticed, and we saw the number of B views for deprecated attribute, and these were 2021, 28,243, and we studied from October 2022 to October 24. However, what we noticed was that the attribute that had been the source of that incident, 28, did not appear there. So we went to the updates of the collector, and there again we saw 2021, 243, and in addition to that, the 28, that was the one that had costed for number 20, that is a connector attribute. In that period, we also added information until March 2025. And the only thing you see here is this peak, June 11th, 2023. So we wanted to show you the situation with time. For attribute 21, a great variability too, and you may notice that since October 2022 the presence of the attribute grows. Attribute 243 has no name, but it's obsolete since November 2022 to November 2023. And finally, number 28, there was presence, but very little compared to what we expected to find. So this is what we saw. And there are more details in the article in LACNIC, in the blog in LACNIC. So if anybody is here in the if you know of this attribute, come and let's talk it over. 243, because we were struck to see that there's traffic with this attribute and we don't have much documentation as to its source. It's obsolete. It's included in Ayana's table, but they don't give too many explanations. Mitigation of the problem is using RFC 7606 that recommends how to handle these errors that happen in these update messages. In RFC, they mention that you should prevent that rebooting from happening constantly and maybe discard that route. Ignore the error, but always preventing the session from crashing. This is the link that, well, Elisa mentioned this, and you'll see the how the different vendors of the different routers enable you to configure the RFC. There are routers that by default they handle these errors, but with others you have to define it with some commands, some configuration, so that they will handle the error the way we choose to do it, ignoring the prefix, ignoring the error. Well, it all depends on the vendor. That's what we wanted to say. Go and see the blog.